get a large mixing bowl and put in 3.5 cups of desiccated coconut. Then add 2 cups of icing sugar. Sift it first. It's also called confectionery sugar or something like that. Then get a pinch of cream of tartar. I'll just mix this together. Now add a can of sweetened condensed milk. That should be about 390 to 400 grams. Now stir this in, like mix all this. This is a very interesting experience. Now break this up into 2 amounts and put the second amount in another bowl. Now for one bowl, put in a few drops or so of red food colouring, and in the other bowl, with the other half, put in a few drops of green. So we'll just put in however many you want. Just mix all that in to get a nice colour. Now, as I said, however many drops you want. A few might be enough, you might need 10 or more. Just depends on how much colour you want. Alright, so here we have 2 colours. Now we'll get on to the next part. Get some sort of baking dish or something that's decent size, at least 20 centimeters across, say. Butter it, put baking paper so it sticks, and then you want to put the green one down, and we want to flatten it over the whole thing. So we just want to flatten it. Use a spoon, use your hands, it doesn't really matter as long as your hands are clean. Alright, so here's that layer. I'll get that layer and put that and squash it right over the top. Alright, the top layer's on. Now just put this in the fridge for 1 to 2 hours just to set enough, and then we'll get into the eating. Alright, that was in the fridge for a couple of hours. I just cut it into slices. There you go. Awesomeness. Get a large mixing bowl that's microwave safe and throw in about 500 grams of white chocolate. Now put this in the microwave for 30 seconds and stir. Then another 30 seconds and stir, and keep repeating that until this is all melted and nice and creamy. Alrighty, that's melted, looking good. Now add a teaspoon of peppermint essence. Now get about a dozen candy canes, put them in a bag like this, and just bash them. Not so they're too fine, so you want fine bits and some chunks. Alrighty, we're done with that. And add the crushed candy cane. And just stir this in. Oh, yum! Now get a baking tray and put the yumminess in there. Just flatten it out now. Now just get another couple of candy canes and crush them. Now just get some of them and just sprinkle it over the top. And just flatten them in just a little bit. Now, I like to use a spork for this. Some people call it a foon. Alright, now just pop this in the fridge until it's set. Now that'll take maybe an hour or two, and then we start breaking it up. Well, that's set. Just bash it. Ooh. I get a container and get strawberry, raspberry, one of the red jellies or jellos. Pour it in, just follow the packet. Now that this is done, get the bowl that you're going to put the trifle in. Now make sure you've got a good sized bowl. Now get a bunch of different berries. I like to use pitted cherries, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, stuff like that. Put them in the base of the bowl. Now get this, pour it in. Now put this in the fridge to set. You can put it in the freezer if you want to speed that process up, but in the fridge could take 4 hours. In the freezer you could reduce this to 1.5 to 2 hours. Now do the same with a green one of Jello, and then just set this aside. We want this to start to set just very slightly. Now what you want to do is bake a cake. You can buy a packet cake or whatever, or just buy sponge cake, or you just make one from scratch like I did. Let it set. Once it's cool, just cut it up into pieces, whatever size you want, to put in the trifle. Now normally people put that as the base in a trifle, but for me I prefer the Jello as the base. Alright, once that's broken up and the Jello part, the first layer, has set, then we're just going to chuck this in it. Now just get chunks of the cake or whatever you're going to use. This may not be a traditional trifle, but this is how I make a trifle. Then pour anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 cup roughly of sweet sherry over it. Then I pour over vanilla custard. Now it's entirely up to you how much. I like to put in about 1 litre. Now get some different types of fruits and berries and about 1 cup, and just sprinkle it over the top. Now we'll just put this in the fridge while the green Jello is setting, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get some thickened cream or whipping cream and beat that, and then by the time that is done, this and the Jello should be ready. Okay, now get the green Jello it hasn't set, but it's starting to get slightly gluggy, and just pour that straight over. Yum. Now just put this in the fridge or freezer so it sets properly. Just from this point, another 30 minutes in the freezer or 45 minutes in the fridge should be enough. Right, now that that is pretty much set, get the whipped cream that you've whipped and put it in. Now however much cream you want to use is fine. Anywhere between 300 and 600 mils is probably good. Now decorate on top with whatever you like. I like to put a bunch of blueberries just around, and then maybe some strawberries.